Hello everyone, this is Pop Culture Junkie here, and I will be sharing with you today my predictions for the 2018 WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, available on pay-per-view and the WWE Network. Now, let's start first off with the Hell in a Cell concept. Okay, Hell in a Cell has become an annual pay-per-view for the last many years, but originally it started off as just an actual match, okay? To me, it's like, if you're going to name a pay-per-view Hell in a Cell, then why don't we have a pay-per-view named Last Man Standing? Why don't we have a pay-per-view named Street Fights? Okay, all these matches that we've had different types of stipulations, we're not going to make pay-per-views out of them. Yet they have turned Hell in a Cell into an actual pay-per-view, annual pay-per-view, which drastically cuts any meaning out of that match, in my opinion. And I wish they would go back to just having cool, different, sounding pay-per-view titles. Like back in the day when they had In Your House every month, they would have different ones like Backlash or Judgment Day, that sort, okay? Things like that. Hell in a Cell should not be the name of a pay-per-view, because you're already killing the match to begin with, because we're already expecting, okay, we're going to get a couple of Hell in a Cell matches at this show. But why? Okay? There should be a reason to have these matches. So let's do a little history lesson. Originally, back in the day, whenever there was a feud, whether it was tag teams or single competitors, if they could not get a clean win, if matches kept ending in DQs or countouts, outside interference kept on being a factor in there, then what they would do is they would take the match and put it inside of a steel cage. The steel cage was meant to make sure there was going to be a clear winner one way or another, and then also it helped to keep outside interference from interrupting the match. Well, in '97, they came up with the concept of the Hell in a Cell for the rivalry between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, because not only could they not get a clear victor in their matches that they had been having, but on top of that, a steel cage still has, an open top. So they could easily get in or out, and people could easily just climb the cage and get inside. So the concept of the Hell in a Cell was it's a completely enclosed structure which prevents anyone from getting in and from getting out. At least that was the concept, which we all know. Most Hell in a Cell matches, there's been some thing to cause the door to open or the cage cell structure to be lifted, and people get in and out all the time. There's only been a few times they've had an actual Hell in a Cell match. Only one that comes to my mind right off the top of my head is Judgment Day 2002. I think I'm saying the wrong period. No Mercy. There you go. No Mercy 2002. Brock Lesnar defending the undisputed title against Undertaker. Damn good Hell in a Cell match, but it stayed inside the cell the entire time. They never got in or out until the match was over. Then Brock got out of the cage, climbs up on top to celebrate, the victory. But the reason for the Hell in a Cell, of course, again, is to get a clear winner, to help end a strong rival feud, whatever is going on. Don't just force two guys in the ring and be like, okay, you know what? We got a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up this weekend. Let's put you guys in the cage. And that's what they've kind of done with this pay-per-view. There's a few matches in this show don't belong in the cage. There's other ones I would actually go ahead and put them in the cage if they decide to do that. But that's the problem with having a Hell in a Cell titled pay-per-view. You don't have any meaning behind the match itself. It makes no sense to me. I think they need to do away with it. Make the pay-per-view some other name, and then when you have okay, who here watches NXT? I watch NXT. I watch the TakeOver shows. Currently, we've got one of the best feuds in a long time happening, and that's Ciampa and Gargano in NXT. That feud belongs inside of a Hell in a Cell. I would be perfectly fine if they were to have announced on NXT saying, you know what, Gargano and Ciampa, they probably are going to have another match at the next TakeOver show, but instead, we're going to rush it and put it right here on Hell in a Cell on the pay-per-view. It's too big for NXT TakeOver. Okay, they can't wait. We have to put them in the cell. It's going to be on WWE's pay-per-view or network, whatever, even though it's an NXT match, and it's for the NXT title. I would be perfectly fine with that, because that rivalry deserves the Hell in a Cell. It needs it for the clear win, clear loss, whatever. So that's my biggest issue I have with this pay-per-view. So yeah, and I'm going to talk about more as we go over the matches that we have scheduled for this show. So I'm going to go over more about that when it gets to the ones that are being at least held in the cell so far. So that's my opinion, though, on the Hell in a Cell structure and as well as the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view as a concept. I just don't think it's working. It takes away a lot from the actual, possibilities of how great a Hell in a Cell match can be. Okay, so for this pay-per-view, we have 8 matches announced, and we actually don't have any announced for the kickoff or pre-show, if they're even doing that. I know it's going to be like a 4-hour pay-per-view. That's what at least they've said. All the pay-per-views that are not Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania are going to be 4 hours. That's the new norm. And we have 8 matches announced. None of them have announced for a kickoff or pre-show, which I'm sure we'll still get some kind of kickoff show or so. So this is in no particular order, so we're just going to go in order of what I have written down here. So first off, we've got Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella versus The Miz and Maurice in a mixed tag team match. First of all, wow, how terrible was Brie Bella last week on Raw? Both times she tried to do a suicide dive looked atrocious. She needs to stop attempting those at all. For this matchup, though, I don't see why Brie and Daniel should lose, so I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. Thinking it's going to be Maurice that's going to get either pinned or she's going to tap. I don't think they're going to have Bryan pin Miz yet. I think they're going to hold off on that because there's still the possibility, I think, of one of them winning the Rumble and then they have a title match at Mania. I think that'll be the blow-off for that. So I'm going with Bryan and Brie for the first match here. All right, then we have the New Day versus Rusev and Aiden English for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles. As much as I am against the New Day even being tag team champions right now, I don't think they're going to go with Rusev and Aiden English. I don't see them getting the titles here because I think they're pretty close to trying to get them to split up. So they're probably going to break up Rusev and Aiden and have them start feuding over the next couple months. So as much as I don't want to see them continue with the titles, I'm going to go with New Day here. So we have AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. Now, I say that because chances are this is going to be somewhere in the middle of the card. There's no way they're going to put this on as the main event, even though it should be. It is the WWE title that should always be in the main event spot. However, this match is not being contested inside of a Hell in a Cell, regardless of the fact that this has the most heat compared to other matches that are already on the card. Now, AJ and Samoa Joe, they're going to tear the house down. They're going to have a great match. They had a great match at SummerSlam. And the way the match ended at SummerSlam definitely gave reason for them to put this inside of a Hell in a Cell. They've got a lot of heat going into this match. Samoa Joe, I'd be happy with making him champion, but I'm going to go with AJ Styles. He's been on a great run, and I want to see him keep that title, so I'm going to go with Styles. Okay, next up, the Raw WWE Tag Team titles. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Basically, Rollins and Ambrose, they don't even need these belts. Rollins is the Intercontinental Champion. Why is he not defending that title on this pay-per-view? He should be focused on a singles run with the IC title. Ambrose should be going after somebody else or having a feud one-on-one with Drew or Dolph if you want to do that. It makes no sense to me to have a tag title match here. But I don't think they're going to have Dolph and Drew drop the titles, so I'm going with Ziggler and Drew retaining. Now, to add to this real quick, as far as matches that are going on in the cell and other ones that are not, that's actually a match I would be fine with them putting in a cell, especially based on all the big brawls they've had lately between Ziggler and McIntyre and then the Shield and so forth, attacking the whole roster basically. I would be fine with Rollins and Ambrose versus Ziggler and Drew in the Hell in a Cell. That actually has a little bit of a reason to be in a cell. But unfortunately it's not, so it's just going to be a standard tag team match. But I'm still going with Ziggler and McIntyre retaining the titles. All right, then we have the Women's SmackDown title match. Charlotte Flair defending against Becky Lynch. I have to say, I was totally against the way that they were deciding to make Becky Lynch a heel, but I love that the fans have not turned on her, and they still cheer for her because she's awesome, and she deserves this. She's one of the best women's wrestlers in the company right now. I want Becky Lynch to win, but I have a feeling it's going to end either in a DQ or a countout, but if there's going to be a winner, my pick is going to be Becky Lynch. But I have a feeling it's going to go down to like a double DQ or a double count out, something like that. Somehow Charlotte's going to get to keep the belt, but I don't think she's going to make Becky tap or pin her. All right, then we have the Raw Women's title match. Ronda Rousey defending against Alexa Bliss. I'm sure Natalya will probably be in Ronda's corner. Mickie James and maybe even Alicia Fox might be in the corner of Alexa Bliss. I don't think this is going to be as much of a squash match as the one at SummerSlam, that was horrible. That was a terrible squash match. So I'm hoping this will be more of a back and forth matchup, but I don't see Ronda dropping the title anytime soon. So I'm going to go with Ronda, probably maybe getting a pin and not always, using a submission. That'd be nice to see if she can pull off some kind of finisher and then get a pin on Alexa Bliss. So I'm going to go with Ronda getting the win here. Okay, that leaves us to our final two matches of the show, and that's going to be the two matches that have been advertised to be inside Hell in a Cell. First off, we have Jeff Hardy against Randy Orton. Why is this a Hell in a Cell match? This makes no sense to me. This was so horribly forced. And why is this not Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States title inside of a Hell in a Cell? Okay, Shinsuke, kicked Jeff in the balls and stole the U.S. title. And then they were going to have their rematch and then, interference from Orton and just so many things. It's like, well, was this going to lead to a triple threat inside the cell? At least that would make some kind of sense. But no, we have Jeff Hardy against Orton. And Orton's on this new thing of, you can call me this, you can call me that. It's like, whatever, dude. Just read your script and do the one thing you do, jump in the air and wait for somebody to fall on their face. That's, the RKO. Sadly, I want Hardy to win so that it cuts off this stupid Orton thing and puts him back feuding to get the U.S. title again. And, him and Nakamura could have some great matches. I have a bad feeling, though, it's going to be Orton getting the win here. And that's not going to make any sense, because who's he going to go feud with then? Okay, what benefits the company, the show, whatever, for Orton to win, and, what happens to Jeff then? It makes no sense to me. So I want Hardy to win, but I feel it's going to end up being Orton. So that's my answer for the result for that one. And then finally, this is going to obviously be the last match of the night because it has Roman Reigns in it. We have the WWE Universal title inside Hell in a Cell. Braun Strowman has cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, even though he had a very clear opportunity to cash it in on a very prone Roman Reigns 2 weeks ago on the same night that he gave Baron Corbin the briefcase, saying, I'm going to cash in at Money in the Bank. Dude, you and Ziggler and McIntyre laid out the Shield and Roman was laid out. You could have easily pinned him right there and gotten the belt, and that would have actually made a lot of sense. But instead, we have the cash-in taking place at Hell in a Cell, and just this past Monday, we were given the treat that Mick Foley is coming back to be the special guest referee. Now, the last time and only time that he was ever a guest referee inside Hell in a Cell was back in 2003 at Bad Blood. I was actually there live in the arena for Triple H defending the WWE World Heavyweight title against Kevin Nash. That was a good match. It was decent. And Foley was the referee, but really Foley was there to take the big bumps, to bleed, and to take the more damage than the actual wrestlers did. I don't think Foley's going to be doing that now because it's 15, 16 years later, and I don't think he can take that kind of bump anymore. But the match itself, I'm sure it'll be okay. It'll be decent. I mean, Roman, he's not the greatest in the ring when it comes to standard matches because he's just got his 3 moves of doom. But when it involves any kind of hardcore stuff or street fights or no holds barred, that kind of thing, then you got other elements to help make it a better matchup. So you're gonna have some kind of chairs or tables or kendo sticks, something that's going to be pulled out from out of the ring to be part of the match. Now, Strowman has been built up as this unbeatable monster who should be able to just destroy Roman in 2 seconds and get the win. But now that he's more of a heel, even though the fans don't really want to boo him as a heel, it's going to take him a lot longer to try to beat Roman, and sadly, we're going to get a very crappy spear, and then Roman pins him. That's pretty much it. You're going to see Roman kick out of the running power slam probably 2 times, and then deliver like 700 of those stupid Superman punches, and then the crappy spear, and then pin Strowman. That's going to be it. I don't see why they should do this. I think honestly it should be Strowman getting the win and getting the title. That would make the faction of Ziggler and Drew and Strowman a lot more stronger. So I would like to see Strowman win. I think a lot of people do. But I have a bad feeling, no, they're going to try to give Roman a long run with that Universal title. We'll see. There you go. There's my picks. We only have 8 matches. Not a whole lot going on at this show that I'm really excited about, though, as you can tell. All right, so let's get on to the Q&A part of the video where I ask everyone on Twitter to send me questions or topics to address in the video, and I'll give you a shout out. Let me say, first of all, thank you to everyone out there who did send me comments and questions to answer on my Raw rant video from last week. If you haven't checked that out, you can check it out on the channel here, where I basically just was shocked at how bad Raw was the previous week. Little did I know this past week was going to be even worse, okay? This week's Raw was one of the worst Monday Night Raws I've seen in a very, very long time. And the one before that wasn't any better. But thank you to everyone out there who sent in your questions and topics on last week's video. But I did send out my tweet just last night letting everyone know it's going to be recording the video today. And I did get quite a few questions, so let's go ahead and check those out. So starting off here, we got Still Blondie asking, are there any matches you would want to be a Hell in a Cell match that aren't currently? Absolutely. Number one, it should be AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe because that has the most heat. Not only is it the WWE title, which is the main title, so you would imagine the main title would be defended inside the name of the pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. But that is the one that has the most heat going. Behind that one, it should be Dolph Ziggler and Drew versus Rollins and Ambrose because, number one, all 4 of those guys are going to tear the house down if they're inside a Hell in a Cell. No rules, anything goes. I can only imagine how creative and wild that match would be, okay? That would be a fun match all around. And finally, I would also put Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch in there because those two would also make the match amazing, and they've got a lot of heat going into this match, okay? It's actually very intense, so there you go, another one. And I'd rather have all 3 of those as Hell in a Cell matches than any of the ones we have on the show right now. Still Blondie also asks, what match are you least looking forward to? It's going to be the Hell in a Cell match of Orton versus Hardy because I don't understand why they even have Orton in this storyline or feud. It should be Nakamura and Jeff Hardy. They should be feuding over the U.S. title. Bryce J. Hall asks, do you like Jeff Randy in a Hell in a Cell for SmackDown, or do you think it should have been AJ Joe? Yes, it should have been AJ and Joe. Orton and Hardy makes no sense. The match itself makes no sense. Again, it should be Shinsuke Nakamura. The freaking United States champion is not even on the show, okay? Let's point that out real quick. On the show here, we don't have a Cruiserweight title, Intercontinental title, or a U.S. title match. Yes, I know Rollins is in the tag match, but there's other tag teams that could have been challenging Ziggler and Drew so that Rollins could defend the title against somebody else. Ambrose could be doing something else, okay? It's bizarre how we have some of the same matchups being pushed over and over, and then we have champions sitting on the sideline. Ridiculous. And we also have Shinsuke Nakamura sitting on the sideline, of course, U.S. champ. Asuka's not on the show. Finn Balor, Bobby Roode. I mean, there's so many big names. Elias. Kevin Owens, also not on the show. Don't get me started about how horribly, terribly bad they did the quitting angle he just did last week on Raw. Hello? None of these people are on the show. They're not part of the pay-per-view. It's ridiculous. Josh Floberg asks, what if WWE did this? 6-man Hell in a Cell match between Braun, Dolph, and Drew versus The Shield with all the titles on the line, pin a champion, and get his belt. Would this be a better idea? Yes, it actually would. It would actually be entertaining. I remember when they did that back in, what was it, 1995 at the In Your House pay-per-view. It was Kevin Nash, or Diesel, and Shawn Michaels. They were the Intercontinental and World Champion, and Owen Hart and Yokozuna were the tag champs, and they did a gimmick where if whoever pinned who, you won those belts. So Shawn or Diesel pinned one of them, they won the tag titles. But if, like, Owen Hart pinned Diesel, he won the world title. If Yokozuna pinned Shawn, he got the Intercontinental title, and vice versa. At least that was something different and fun, and they haven't done anything like that since then. Well, no, actually, they did, in, 2000, there was, a handicap match where if anybody pinned anybody, The Rock lost the title or won the title, something like that. I can't remember the participants, but they did something like that again in 2000 just for the one title. But, yeah, that would be a great idea. I'd love to see that. Even though it's still the Shield, and I'm kind of burnt out on them, that'd be fine. It'd be fun and different, and that'd be a great, story twist. So I definitely would go for that. Samantha S. asks, the possibilities of WWE with Braun Strowman as WWE Universal Champion. I'm thinking basically what? You're wondering what's the possibilities of Strowman actually getting the title. It's looking like 80-20 no. 20% yes, 80% no. I mean, they waited so long to give Roman the belt. It would seem very odd that they just quickly go, okay, we at least got him the belt for a little bit. We realize the fans still don't like him no matter what we've done, so let's just get the belt off of him. But at least we can finally say he was Universal Champ. You know, I'd be fine with that because it's not working. He's still getting booed out of the building no matter what he does. I mean, he has to have the Shield next to him at all times to get any kind of positive crowd response. I mean, yeah, he still gets the little kids that are cheering, that's it. But the real fans are not wanting this, okay? You're shoving stuff down our throats that we don't want, and we've been very vocal. So, yes, I would rather see Strowman as champion and continue on as the monster babyface that, you know, got him over so much. Jeff Pal asks, Ring of Honor versus New Japan Pro Wrestling versus WWE, which one? That's a great question. It kind of really goes off to where, like, what elements are involved there, because you got to wonder about superstar power, storyline power, match qualities, and so forth. All in all, I have to say WWE, because you've got a lot of star power. Okay, there's no reason WWE should be looked at as less than any other company, because they have an amazing roster of talent from SmackDown to Raw to NXT. It's just all a matter of creative. At least on New Japan and Ring of Honor, you have creative doing things that the fans actually want to enjoy and see. Whereas in WWE, we're suffering with stubbornness from someone who just won't get over the fact that your Roman project or your other projects you've forced us to try to like, and we've said, nope, we don't want it, and you just keep doing it. So, you know, I still say WWE is still the top, because, of course, that is the top place that everyone wants to be, because that's your, you know, global company. Everyone knows WWE, and we know how good it can be. But, again, we're stuck with bad storylines and, you know, terrible creative. I just wish they would, you know, fix that. All right, everyone, thank you so much for sending in your questions and topics. I hope you enjoyed the answers and responses I gave you. Well, remember to follow me on Twitter, Pop Culture Junk 2. I'll be live tweeting during the show, Hell in a Cell. During the pay-per-view, I'll be live tweeting, so if you want to follow along with me and share with me your thoughts on all the matches and all the happenings on the show, follow me there. And then later on that evening on Sunday night, I will be recording my recap and results video. So if you want to send me questions or topics about the show and about the pay-per-view, do so, and I'll give you a shout out on that video. So everyone else out there, I hope you enjoyed the show, hope you enjoy the pay-per-view, and let's see what kind of craziness they bring us for a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view this time around. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. This is PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, and I'm signing out.